weekends.
On weekends? We play every Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. You should come. 6 to 8. Bring your mom and dad. D&D encounters.
Wow, that is awesome.
You started playing D&D?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Are you running just a home game, or what are you guys doing? My son, who's 12 now, he started playing at about that age, and we started going to D&D encounters, which is Wednesday night, and it's real simple, like 4th edition, easy rules, you know, group kind of stuff. It's great. The shop is awesome.
That has
well, I mean, we like to play with more people. Obviously, it
It's tough with the kids.
We
But you could definitely swing by on a Wednesday night. It's fun. We got a bunch of kids playing, but they're mostly like junior high school ages.
Okay.
A little bit older.
So,
How old are you, buddy?
8.
You're 8 years old. Have you been to Comic-Con yet?
Yeah, 1.
How was it?
We went to Comic-Con. It was good.
It was good. You had a really good
I saw
time.
Deadpool.
Oh.
Just the girl one.
A girl Deadpool.
Okay.
Deadpool's one of my favorite characters.
I took a picture of her on my phone.
Can I see it?
My phone isn't exactly charged.
Not right now. What other games do you play?
I'm doing the same thing. I have one in Oregon, one in Washington, one in Colorado.
That's what other games you play, like Magic.
Oh, I don't really play.
Yes. My last game I had someone in Japan.
You started playing Magic?
That was fun.
That's good.
He's been playing since he was 3, so
Like this guy was playing D&D in
we kind of
Japan.
fudged the rules.
Right,
Now
right,
we're
right.
trying to learn that.
We're over here and it's
Yeah.
11 at night.
That's not a cheap hobby, though. It is. It's great. We just started playing. Jack and I just started playing this summer. And we're really enjoying it. But we're spending a lot of money, you know.
Yeah, we gotta get all the cars and put the cars in.
Exactly.
Okay. How is that? I don't know that.
Well, I'm a big 40
What page is the damage track?
Which one?
Which page is the damage track?
The damage track is on page 95.
Way back.
So you start out hail, which is normal.
Yep.
I mean, it's actually, I think,
95.
And then when do you become impaired?
When one of your
Stats goes to
pools
zero.
Goes to 0.
So impaired is when 1 goes to 0. So when you take damage, you take it to primarily to your might pool, but some damage may affect your, like a psychic attack would affect your intellect pool.
it's like, everyone puts
And impaired means that everything costs 1 extra pool.
Yeah. That always happens too. It's funny.
for long.
Wait. No. Maybe they changed that.
Yeah, it's weird. It's sometimes you just have an overabundance of them, and then other times
Because
it's dry.
Where do I find, more furniture?
If damage reduces a character's stat pool to 0, any further damage to that stat is applied to another stat pool. Damage is applied in this order: might, speed,
and then
intellect.
intellect.
So if something deals damage to your might, which is 0, it goes to your speed. And if it deals damage to your speed, it goes
So
to your
what if your intellect gets damaged? Say it's a psychic attack.
Then it takes
it
your
go to
intellect
might?
pool. No.
After that's depleted, does it go back to the top of the list?
Yeah.
And start
Yes.
might? Okay.
Yeah.
But
Which
After
you're
for sure.
After so your 20 points, if someone's rated 2 might, it's still going to carry it, provided they don't have armor. Still going to carry 18 into their speed, and then if it decreases their speed to 0, it's going to decrease their intellect.
There you go.
Yeah.
And
So the
then-
singularity is first going to kill their might,
Yes, and then their speed.
and then their intellect.
Yeah, and once 2 are killed, though, you're basically like you can crawl. That's about your only action you can do, because everything's increased by like 4 tiers or something like that.
You're debilitated.
Yeah,
Okay.
once 2 things are.
The other thing to mention is that even if you have a stat pool of 0 and the damage is kicked to a different pool, it still counts as the original type of damage. So
For damage reduction.
for armor. So if you take might damage, but it's at 0 and so it takes it away from your speed, you still reduce the amount of damage because of armor, or any armor you would have.
but NPCs don't have. They only have one.
They have
Right.
they have health. That's it.
But the armor only soaks damage once from any particular attack.
Yes.
From a singular attack.
In addition to taking
So you get armor too.
damage. Okay, so the
20
damage
from the
track has
explosion
4
or whatever.
states:
You
hail,
take 18
impaired,
points of
debilitated,
damage.
dead.
Armor, which soaks damage.
Dead is dead.
When one of a PC's stat pools reaches 0, he moves 1 step down the damage track. Thus, if he is hail, he becomes impaired. If he is already impaired, he becomes debilitated. So if you become impaired because of some effect, and then your first stat pool reaches 0, you still go to debilitated.
Yes.
That's it.
I
Yep.
remember that.
And then if you are debilitated and one of your other stat pools goes to 0, you're dead. So even if all 3 of your stat pools are fine and you're debilitated, if you hit 0 at some point, you're dead.
Because there's environmental effects that could just like bring you to
Not sure about
standing next to a radiation.
Yeah, some effects can immediately shift a PC from 1 or more steps on the damage track. These include rare poison, cellular disruption.
Good walker for a year, man. That's awesome.
AT&T and then whatnot. Massive
It's the older brother syndrome, huh?
Yes.
Case never had older
Some
brother.
attacks like venom from a serpent bite or nanos, esoteries.
We had our third child. We had third
Can
child
have
syndrome.
more than
which
damage
means he didn't
on-
walk till he was like
damage on
2.
more than one pool.
Because people carried him everywhere.
Yeah, that's it. And then we can look at the damage track specifically when people hit that point. I know that effort costs 1 extra point per applied if you're impaired.
Yeah, Christian?
Impaired.
This one for modifiers.
An impaired character
Yeah.
ignores
How would we know
minor
that
and major
number?
effects, and he doesn't.
Most
deal
weapons
with
don't
extra
have
special-
modifiers
special
that I know of. Some
Okay,
of them,
so-
some of the Numenera stuff gives you like
When
+1 and that kind of stuff, but
takes
like a regular
damage
broadsword
to
doesn't have a
So
modifier.
you go to
It's just going to
debilitated.
be a D20 against the difficulty, and then you can use your stat pool to modify the difficulty.
Okay.
The only
Is
action you
there
can
a
take when you're
difference when attacking
debilitated is
between a
crawl,
broadsword and a bow?
unless your speed pool is 0, in which
Bow
case
is a
you can't move
ranged
at all.
attack, right?
Sure.
So
That's
short. So
what I
there's
was
3
thinking,
ranges.
yeah.
There's immediate, which is everything at
And
5
then
feet.
and then
Then there's
you're
short
dead.
range, and then there's long range.
Yeah.
So
So
short
I'm
range is
imagining
everything to like 50 feet or
Once
so,
you
and your
hit
bow
that
would have
point,
short
the
range.
death spiral is pretty strong.
Oh, might have
It
long.
happens
I just
very
read something
quickly
that
if you're still being
if you're in an
Like, if
in
you're-
the
immediate
area. Yeah.
It's
attack with
difficult to get
range,
to that point, it looks
your
like. But once
attack
you
is
get
1
there,
step
it's hard to
easier.
get out
Uh-huh.
of it.
If you're at just at the
And
edge
that's where
of your range,
Yeah.
of your maximum range,
One of the DC.
you're
Yes.
Well, that's where
everything's your one
that's where you
step
have to relearn those old
in favor of the
D&D,
target.
Gotcha.
habits and learn
So
to
does it
say
have a
things like,
range? So you
I
have
give
long
up.
range. So that means you can fire
Yes.
forever.
Okay.
I
Sight,
brought some
basically.
pizza for you. Here,
Cool.
Crystal.
Yeah.
That should be your spot.
Surrender
Yeah.
It's like sniping.
have to play that way.
Yes. There you go.
So you guys are ready?
I think so.
Ready?
Are we ready?
I think Ryan.
Yeah,
Ryan.
let's get this show on the road.
So how are we playing in one big group or are we splitting? We're splitting it.
Split? Do you want to go for one big group or do you want to split?
That's up to you guys.
We should split.
I think
Or
one.
do you want to split into 2 tables of 4?
Yeah, because one
That's
big
a
group
lot.
might take a
That's a lot
little too
going
long.
Yeah. And it will never be
Yeah.
your turn.
No one would have.
Yeah.
Right.
Though you only have 1 action on your turn, so it's supposed to be
That is
fast.
true. It is speedy.
Supposed to be.
Unless you
Right.
wields 2 weapons.
Well, anytime you take on a new system, it's
Use-
gonna be a
use-
little clunky.
Since we're used to playing, I'm used to playing 4th edition. Having only 1 action was very restrictive, and I had to get used to.
Do you guys want to be at the same table or do you want to be at different
I'm sorry,
tables?
people play.
We'll stay together.
You wanna
if
stay
that's
together?
okay, Yeah.
Okay.
I'm like the master.
I
I'm
go-
like the
I
master
got
4th edition.
either of them are ready.
He is the
So you're ready
most
to go?
incredible 4th edition DM I've ever seen. I watched him. I sat there. I wasn't even playing,
I had
and I
1st
watched
edition
him for
players
an
going,
hour.
wow,
Just
I like this. So I find that very.
that is flattering. That's a.
That's right. Yeah. Listen,
It
You were
also
playing
helps.
the Mad Wizard. That's when I was watching you. It's
It
like-
also helps that most of my campaigns happen online, and so I can abuse the medium to mess with the players.
The scripter.
No, not just that, but like
I'm gonna
for
switch
4th
to
edition
someone.
stuff,
Specialized, right? Right,
you can
so-
utilize macros to do a lot of the
Oh, okay.
complex automation of numbers for you.
Like, do you,
So that since I play on Roll20, so I don't
so
have
you
to
have, if you have a skill, it has to be trained?
Roll20.net.
Right.
You use
It's
the
written down, right? So you're
straight
just
up
web
point, you
trained.
use the hangout. Google Hangout.
Sometimes if you're creating
Just the straight.
Because I've been looking at that lately, John. You know,
It's
got my new
very
Nexus,
nice.
so-
They made a few
I've been
updates
thinking
that
about
made it
There's a
much more
lot. There's a
friendly.
big G plus.
Well, and I don't know if you guys
I
listen
used to use Map Tools,
podcasts with the Happy
Which
Jacks.
was the free version.
Happy Jacks, they're actually out here
It
in
was
Long
really
Beach,
nice
but
'cause you could set
they
up
just
real
did a
complex drawing
all online
But-
convention called JackerCon like last month,
Yeah,
and all of the games are run over. It's all role playing, and it's all run over Google Hangouts, and using the
I've been looking at that a lot.
Yeah, no,
because
it's-
you
So-
play every 2 weeks, but I'm home with my daughter.
I really like 4th
Right,
edition,
yeah.
and I might
And
switch
it's
to 5th
find a
edition.
couple extra
when it
games
comes out,
and
but
you
I'm
can-
so-
Yeah, something I can play from home
just-
without
I-
losing
I-
time.
yeah.
But the first time you do it, it takes 1 round. The second time you do it, it takes 10
It's also that I
minutes.
play with
Third time
people
you do it,
that
it takes
are
an
really
hour.
used
Fourth time
to
you do it, it takes an
online
hour.
gaming and whatnot.
Said the
Okay, are we drawing to see which table we're on, or how did the breakdown go? Did somebody like do the logistics?
What's that?
Who's on what table where?
However you guys want to.
I have no preference. I don't really care. So.
Oh yeah, I didn't hear a name.
Did you want to stay over here?
I don't really know.
Dave, are you running this table?
I'll head over to
I'll run this table.
Yeah.
And then Sky will run this table, and we'll put the pizza on that table.
Yeah, I'll hop over there. It looks like there's, I don't know.
Well, no, I think I have Ron, so I have 4.
Well, I'm not leaving. I was just standing up.
No.
Z Snyder?
Ron.
Ron?
Ron.
That was gonna be Z Snyder. Like,
Yeah, we need one more player over here.
Okay, I'll move over there.
What do you? We have 8 people. So yeah.
Yeah, that worked great. And you're playing Glaive,
For some reason,
Nano,
4 here, 5 over there.
Jack, and Ron has either or, so he can decide what to play based on that.
Jack, are you
Split personality disorder.
You're Jack, so we got 2 Jacks.
He's more combat oriented.
Oh, this is perfect.
It's exactly what you want, man.
Well, and we have Mr. Destructo here with his little.
The singularity
I'm gonna pull out my ceramic thing if you guys don't stop.
What's that?
I don't want to be in the group.
So I have
with you
either
because
the
I'm
Jack
gonna die.
with the Animal Companion,
Dude, I guarantee you, if you're in my group, we will not all
or
die.
the
I'll get away.
really specialized learned Nano,
Okay.
who will find all the Numenera.
Paul, I'm not sure what you're playing.
Jack.
You've got a Jack. Jack.
These are
Glaive, Jack. Nano.
Wait, what was that? You don't know.
Glaive, Jack, Nano. So, Ron, you could play. We have a Glaive, Jack, and a Nano, so you can play whatever you like.
Okay. I think it's simpler to play the Nano, so I'll try the Nano first.
Okay, so now everybody should have something that gives another PC some power. Right? So let's get that figured out while we're here.
We'll just have to be smart about this.
I have a telepathic link with one of you.
Oh,
at short range
fantastic.
For free. And of course, I also have the ability as a commands amount of powers to do telepathy.
You can create a psionic web. Perfect.
But this one would be free with one of you
And I was
guys.
like, so you're just.
So who wants to be like my buddy?
See, and then I have
Okay,
one
perfect. Yeah.
where a PC used to be one of my followers, but now they're a peer.
Grab my book.
When the pizza gets here, I'll get drinks and I don't know.
Perfect.
If you want your Skittles, I can get some of that.
Where do we find that?
In the
So, like for your Ride the Lightning.
Oh, right.
in the focus.
What was your
Yeah,
focus?
your focus.
So, Ride the Lightning means you can take one person with you and do your like teleport thing.
Which you can't teleport for this tier anyway.
I did, but it was for later, so I used text math to map out a large area.
I was like studying. I would
Then
look
we
things
can
up for you.
reciprocate those two, yeah.
Fuses
I would
one
look
S.
things up for you.
It's not math-based.
Yeah,
Right, and then
it's
it becomes now it's a
one
peer. It's
sword.
no longer a follower, it's peer. And then
Oh wait, that's your Batman or
that's the
your?
connection.
And steel.
That's the connection.
Or I can, but I have to make it
Usually the connection.
Just says my best friend.
kind of close to you,
Flesh.
and not close to you at all.
Alright, so
I was.
immediate.
I could say that.
Yeah.
You can always attack anything immediate, and
Yeah,
then
pretty
sure,
sure
look at
guys
short
that,
range. That's how far you can
regard
move, and then you
the
can
Numenera
push
as
yourself to move
sacred.
longer.
Sacred,
If you
almost
wanted to.
religious.
Okay.
It's like a religion based on science.
Immediate range is like somebody in the store you can run get them. Short range is you can throw things.
No, just
Your character focus
Study the Numenera.
Yeah, the numerology.
uses flesh and steel.
Okay, here we go. Long range you
Numerology.
need to have like a bow
Numerology.
or addle or something that can throw.
Connection. Pick one other PC. This character knows your true nature, even if no one else does. If your components are not particularly hidden, she knows a different secret of yours, such as a pre-programmed word that will shut you down for 10
Character's
minutes.
name is Roy.
Super
So someone knows something secret about you.
Okay.
Yeah,
stick
exactly.
javelin. They're super light. And
Exactly. It's an expanding javelin. It starts out like this, and after you throw it, it springs out.
So you have a follower who's now a peer, and who's that?
Or
And you have a telepathic link with him as well?
The flexible.
All right.
Team up.
Okay, so you know a secret about him.
Okay.
Like my shutdown word.
really?
Oh, you're
I did
Oh,
fuse
it's
flesh
like
and steel.
Oh, awesome.
Okay, we're rolling.
What's your character name? Because when I say oh my god, it's going to be oh my character.
Or if I cover up, then you know that I'm part robot.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. We rolling for
You can
Yeah.
So he's in Numenera.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
So I stopped as far as after I got to the plot, and I was only up to reading the random encounters that are possible.
Okay.
That's as far as I read.
Connection is what you're rolling for?
Only player knowledge.
Well, I mean,
and I don't remember it that well. Anyway, because that was like
half asleep.
Right, it's right on my nightstand.
Yeah, so you got a D20 here for your nano.
Oh yes.
I got a general. No, it's time to come back.
No, I don't.
Okay, so the background a little bit here is there's a pathway that leads all the way around the known world, right? And it's called the Wandering Walk, right? And people at various points in their life will adventure out onto the Wandering Walk. Some people do this like as a rite of passage. When they turn 15, their culture sends them out on the walk to have an adventure. Other people decide to go maybe be brigands on the walk and rob people and then stay on the walk. Some people are going like on a religious sabbatical. They're hiking to some famous place within the world, the ninth world, to look at some vast vista or see some magical volcanoes or something like that. And so for some reason, you guys have set out on the Wandering Walk, and you're actually on a part of the Wandering Walk called the Fifth Stretch. The Fifth Stretch is one of the safer places on the Wandering Walk. It's one of the more popular areas of Numenera. The Fifth Stretch is a relatively short part of the Wandering Walk, maybe 80 miles long from start to finish, and it goes from kind of like a little foresty, glady, river, watery kind of area, kind of like up through a kind of desert pass, across a long plateau, and then up into these crag mountains. They call them like the Seven Crags, which are like strange rock formations that sit on these ridges of just like finger-looking precipices sticking out of the earth. One of the mysterious oddities about this region that really draws a lot of, particularly religious seekers, is this strange effect in the high desert in which periodically these lights, this bioluminescent light form, kind of comes out of the earth and bonds together in these elaborate like latticey string patterns through the sky. And this is seen as a religious, mystical kind of experience for a lot of people. So they come out here to see this.
Here's the focus.
The ground in this area, and the people that do this are called peregrines, or what they're generally called, and they have strange tattoos on their hand. They'll tattoo their hand, elaborate tattoos over years. The people that have been doing it for a long time will have their tattoos going all the way up to maybe their elbow or their forearms. Their whole arms are covered in this elaborate tattoo. And they're mystic, spiritual kind of people, and they come out here, while they're walking out here, the desert area has this strange kind of blue-green aquamarine fungus kind of goo that grows in the sand that they use as dye to dye their clothing, or their robes. So they're wearing these strange colored robes. Oftentimes they're selling it, they trade in this material, right, so that other communities, God sells it, it's very attractive and a sign of luxury. Historically, this area has also had a lot of healing power, right? So there's people that come out here, to see, the miracle of healing, or to experience healing, or to, they bring their sick relatives out here to try to get them healthy, right? Think of it as like kind of like the desert where people will go when they have asthma, to just kind of clear, because the water is very swampy and all that kind of stuff. So there are communities that have grown up around healing areas. A miracle occurred here. There's a fountain here. There's people trying to find new healing areas, starting sects and cults and, so there's more interaction here. There's also some farming communities that are feeding into this whole thing, but religious relics and tourism seems to be the primary reason why people are here. And people come from long ways away to travel this stretch because it's very safe. So you get a lot of rich people who come out here for holiday, so that they don't have to worry about the thieves and the brigands and the rest of it and all that stuff. So I guess we can go around so having just kind of generally described the region, we could just go around the table real quick and I can get kind of reasons why you might have come to this fifth stretch along the Wandering Walk and why you're walking this walk. Ron, you want to go first and just a quick, and give us your character just so everyone at the table knows your sentence.
What?
Your sentence.
Oh yes, I'm Roy Hinkley. I'm a learned nano who commands mental powers.
Tell me your name again.
Roy.
Roy. R-O-Y.
Yeah.
Roy Hinkley.
Because he's like so common to me.
I'm Ryan. That's right.
He's here. Aside from being with his pal, his best friend, he is a scientist. And
then Brian, character name?
Is obsessed about studying and learning more new things. But he's also found that books cost money. So right now he's inadvertently obsessed with making money.
Okay.
It's Mr. Zudi.
So if you can find some nice Numenera to sell off,
Yes.
find something he doesn't need and sell it off,
Like
or if he can sell his
It's got a Y in-
services
It's got a Y in there.
to research things for people.
So, so my
or
connection
if anything
is
comes up where he can
to the group
make
is
some
I can
shins
Right.
to spend more on books.
How's his moral character? Is he willing to steal to advance his financial
No.
goals, or he
No,
would-
he just
I'm just looking at
he might be willing to
And I need
Oh,
someone to give me a D10.
hurt somebody who doesn't necessarily have to be hurt.
Right.
He's not evil, but
Take the 6.
you know, his goals are more important than other people's goals.
Okay.
So he's very wrapped up in his own needs.
I think you should have named your character Jack because then he would have been Jack.
I
playing
know.
Jack named Jack.
That's what I thought for sure. Yes!
I was thinking like that. Jack and Jack. That's what I'm
Do you guys want to take a pizza break and dig into that while?
Yeah.
Oh, do you have plates or napkins?
No,
Sorry, guys. Do you want to take a pizza break real quick while we get that
Yes.
later?
We can discuss what character.
While we're going on, okay.
Talking.
And then there's just Jack.
Okay, so you're mostly good. You've come to this part of the walk to find Numenera or sell your wisdom.
I wouldn't say he's mostly good. I mean, if we're going in D&D terms, he's more of a neutral kind of guy.
Okay,
Almost straight neutral.
right.
Because he's focused on knowledge
That's it.
and learning. That's what he cares about.
Gotcha.
That's what helps. That's what he makes his decision on was how much knowledge he's going to gain from this.
Right.
And like I
Right.
said, he's
We
not
wanted
greedy
food
per
first,
se,
grab food
but
first.
he could be perceived as greedy.
Yeah,
Because
So the Peregrines are kind of like a religious group, very spiritual in
He's
nature.
not- he's not-
Do you look down upon them, or do you have a?
They, no.
They're not
Just,
fools.
They're just, you know, if they serve his purpose, he'll be friendly with them.
Got it.
If they won't serve his purpose, he'll kick them out of his way.
Right. But Roy's pretty much just out for learning knowledge.
Yeah,
Wisdom
he's
is-
not offensive.
Got it. Deliberately.
He's not deliberately offensive.
All right, tell me about your character. I'm sorry.
Miles von Coeur.
Miles.
I have some 20.
Miles is a clever Jack of all
The
trades.
other problem is this is really, it's really
The idea behind him is he's an opportunist.
Ah.
He's there for opportunity.
Randomize it without looking at it.
And what he's found is
That's cool.
with this guy by his
I want a low
side,
number. I want a high number.
the opportunity presents itself.
Gotcha.
So as he's looking for books and whatnot, he's looking
If
for the
anyone
people,
feels
the
like they
marks.
need a special,
Gotcha.
throw that
Whether or
light
not
one
he
out.
realizes they're a mark may not be the
I've
issue,
got my special.
but everybody's a mark.
Gotcha. And so you've come to this area because of the
Well, he
Tourist
brought it up.
industry?
He brought it up and he said, "Yeah, there's opportunity out here. We need to, you know, I'm on the quest for knowledge.
8d3s.
Knowledge equals, like he said, books are expensive. You got to find some.
Oh, that is the hardest die.
Where do you
to
recommend?
read. This is-
How about the fifth?
That's
Hey, let's go."
okay.
So while he's looking, when he's looking for books, when he's wrapped up in the knowledge, he's looking for the mark.
Right.
It's a different set of eyes.
Gotcha.
But it's not to say that, you know, stealing is that's too easy.
Right. More of a
Mark,
grifter.
you're right. Mark is a different thing. It's also opportunity in the sense that whatever anyone else is in, he'll catch wind of it. He'll get involved in it. Our services will become, well, mandatory because without us, there's no success.
Gotcha.
So he's a used car salesman.
Perfect. And let's see the
Can't count to 100 prime
the natural environment that you're in can be kind of challenging, like a high desert. There's swamps that you just kind of walked out. How does your constitution? Are you a great traveler who does really well in these kind of changing environments, or are you like you need to be pampered a little bit, or?
No, he's not. I wouldn't say he needs to be pampered, but what he, being an opportunist, it's who else knows how to survive? I'll make sure I'll have one of them around.
That's your best friend.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Until it becomes the number he wants it.
Okay, Miles, I think I get you.
Yeah, he definitely doesn't know stuff. He knows people. So he knows stuff.
Right. So Roy's the brains of the operation, and you're the face. Got it.
Does anyone want any drinks? I think there was
Yes.
one.
Like, where are we?
Go for that.
And that's how they do it telepathically. When he doesn't know what he's talking about, he tells him, no, it's this. Oh, yeah, I know all about that.
I've had bosses like this.
Well, that's exactly what he is.
All right, Miles, great.
My character is named Zern.
So Mark is playing. Tell me what his name is. Mark again.
Zern. Z-R-N.
Z-R-N.
Strong
A vowel in there would be nice, just for pronunciation.
Z-E-R-N.
Z-R-N. Zern, and he's a
strong-willed nano.
The other one's drinks, just go up and put it on the counter.
All right.
Oh, you like store credit or something?
Strong-willed nano who rides lightning, right? Okay.
Now, I don't know much about the world, but is being a nano something you train in, or is it just innate?
Right, there's lots of ways that you could come to be a nano. You could have been risen in a community that was protecting some old technology and keeping it running, and so you learn how to do like engineering feats.
Right.
And it appears to be magic to other people because you're so good at engineering. You can repair things that other people can't. You can put things together that other people can't.
Right.
It could be a natural trait. You could have just a weird mutation that allows you to like forge from the X-Men, where you just have a way to communicate with machines. With Ride the Lightning, it maybe you have an understanding of electricity, in a way, or maybe all energy forms. I don't know, where you just understand how energy flows, and so you're able to see the blocks in energy and clear them to get things to work that machinery that wouldn't ordinarily work.
Yeah, I think I like that.
Or it can even be transplanar, right? You have this ability to like bring in energy from other planes or other dimensions that other people don't know exist.
All right. Well, I like that option of the energy, expert sort of.
Okay.
Now these Peregrine, are they generally looked as like the way we kind of look at cults or religious orders, or
right?
Okay.
It depends. So
I'm thinking maybe I'm looking for somebody who got affiliated, joined them, or
right. They've been around for a really, really long time.
Okay.
Right. So it's one of those things where, like, people that are really versed. Well, why don't you give me a roll?
Okay.
Give me an int check.
All right. So I'm gonna roll a d20.
Yeah.
Okay. And am I modifying this any?
You could buy it down if you want. I have a number in my head.
You have a number in your head, gotcha.
And then you can apply
All right, I'll
effort.
spend my one edge to bring it down. So I got a 7.
So you basically have general knowledge about the Peregrine. And they've been around for literally thousands of years, which is a long time in Numenera, right?
Okay.
They've always had this weird obsession with this area, right? So you don't see that they are on other parts of the Wandering Walk, but this is really, and that color, soil that they're using, seems to be a big part of what they do.
Okay.
You also know that lately they've gone through periods where they're revered, they are the carriers of wisdom, they are the messengers for the community, but then there have been periods where they're really shunned and they're seen as a cult and their tattoos are stupid. Right now, there's something weird going on with the Peregrines.
Okay.
It appears that they're all slightly depressed and neurotic. There's been, for the last 20 years, there's never been a real leader. Their annual conventions haven't been happening, so something's been going wrong for about the last 20 years. No one's really sure what it is, and it's nothing truly obvious. It's just, they've been a little bit off.
All right. Well, maybe that will be my motivation. I want to sort of investigate that ritual or see that ritual and see if it has any connection to my...
Yeah, and the summoning of the lights, it used to happen every week, it seems like. It used to happen all the time. Then for a long time, when you were a kid growing up, it stopped happening almost entirely. It's recently started happening again, but something's people that remember it the old days, it was this glorious blue-green fulfillment of all their wishes with this psychedelic lattice.
Right.
Lately, it's been kind of dark and edgy. It's still happening, but very irregularly. It probably hasn't happened in the last 2 or 3 years. But when it did happen the last couple times, it's been much more, not what people remember. They remembered it as a glorious, happy thing.
Main Street,
and now it was more like a scary, dark thing.
Yeah.
And that may be one of the reasons why the Peregrines aren't nearly as happy. Their core belief system is somehow tied to this region, and this region isn't necessarily prospering for some reason. The rest of the health community, in the area, the kind of new age shops that have grown up, and the people that found, they're doing great business. Tourism is still good, but the people that kind of started the tourism in this area seem to be suffering. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay, so you have an ability to control the flow of energy, and you come here to kind of investigate why things aren't here. Do you have any kind of mystical leanings, or are you a spiritualist in any way? Do you believe in gods?
They can just rewrite. If you read the
is that
opening
story, in the setting? Is that a large part of people's everyday belief still? Or?
Yes. Okay. Basically, what's happened is some kingdoms have been established fairly recently, and those kingdoms have used religion as a way to kind of unify people.
Okay.
So there are a lot of diverse religious cults worshipping all sorts of weird things.
Okay.
In this region, it's primarily kind of a New Age, general, universal love kind of faith. And that's what the Peregrines kind of embody. It's more of a back to nature kind of spiritualism. But these guys who've been
So
around a lot, they've
basically
experienced
everyone's
cults that
following
worship, you know, a
That's
female
how it's
robot
working, except for
who
one
speaks
guy
every
you
3
know.
years, and that's their god, and
Right
they wait
now,
for her
they're
to
just
say
kind
those
of
words,
attached
which generally don't mean
to
anything.
you.
Right.
Not really sure
And that
why
religion
you
is
guys
growing
all
as well.
got
So there's
together.
a wide variety of cults in the area.
Okay.
You were just basically like, okay,
There are also
well,
cults that hate each
I
other.
hear
There's cults that try to
there's a
destroy
really
each
good
other
way
and have been
to
at
make money
war
in
since
this one town,
anyone
so
knows.
that's where we're going.
Sometimes they don't even
And
remember why they're
along the
feuding.
way,
This
you
area has
got
a
completely
relative
lost.
peaceful environment,
But
right?
you refuse
They haven't
to
seen the
admit
Peregrines
to
are very
it.
inviting to other people. They have been for millennium. Everything seems pretty cool.
So
you're here to figure out what's going on with the bioluminescent soil. But do you have a spiritual tie?
I would say but not more of a divine, but not like a physical thing. You know,
Okay.
You
more of
came
a
to this one area, and it,
man to God
eventually the
connection,
terrain got
I guess.
so
Gotcha.
difficult that you knew that okay, we
All right.
cannot get over
My name
that
is Kane.
mountain pass.
I am a strong glaive who
can't
fuses
do it,
flesh and
so
steel.
I have to not keep
My
calling
primary
this bluff
drive
anymore.
is to create a
Yeah.
perfect body,
Right.
whether that is from
it's
flesh
a
or
whole pass.
with
It's a
flesh and
mountain
steel
pass.
combined. And
And
so
as you were doing
I'm
this,
here,
you know,
and you mentioned that there's
you
some
guys
like healing
realize you're
powers.
completely
Yeah.
lost.
Well, because
But
of my combination of flesh and
you
steel, sometimes it's not as easy
actually
to heal me
recognize
naturally.
Okay.
As it,
And
you
you-
kind of have to repair some things.
Yeah,
So I'm trying to
kind
find a
of.
more potent
At least
healing
You know the general
concoction
vicinity
that I can
because
use.
this is part of something
Because in
called the
whatever previous
wandering
experience
walk.
I've had, I noticed that
In
my
this,
recovery time's a
No
little longer than
one's
I wish it
really
would be.
sure
Gotcha.
of the start or the end
And,
of the wandering walk.
I do
but
wear
it's used as a
clothes that kind of
pilgrimage,
hide
and there's
the
monks called peregrines.
you know,
that
modifications,
take this
but I'm not
wandering
super
walk. But you know, most people
worried if
take
somebody
it on
sees
this
it.
idealistic belief. Oh, I'll commune with nature and I'll find myself and stuff.
Okay, cool.
But
And so, and you all have your characters. You all have your ties to each other at the table.
Animal attacks. No one really
So,
realizes how dangerous.
Metagames. I have to stop at 4. My wife has a party to go to tonight, so it's 2:15. So we're already kind of a long way through things, and I'm pretty excited to see how combat and other stuff works. So I may railroad a little bit. The adventure is designed to be very open-ended, and there's a lot of roleplay opportunity. We'll try to do some of that, but we might move a little bit quicker to some of the main story points, just so we can kind of get through what we're trying to get through this afternoon. I'm sorry.